Hi, welcome back to my classes on spectroscopic techniques. My name is Dr. Prasad Putelam. A new class series on IR spectroscopy. So in my YouTube channel, My Intuition, you can see all other videos on UV visible spectrophotometry, and IR spectroscopy class series starts from today. So IR spectroscopy, also known as infrared spectroscopy, it is also known as vibrational spectroscopy. It is a measurement of the interaction of IR radiation with matter, and the matter may absorb, it may emit, or may reflect the IR radiation. Okay, usually absorption and transmission we consider in IR spectroscopy. The instrument will detect the how much IR radiations are transmitted through the sample, or how much it is absorbed. Okay, so it is also known as vibrational spectroscopy. It is not rotational spectroscopy as such. Therefore, IR range, if you discuss IR range, so this is the electromagnetic spectrum that I used to explain the spectroscopy techniques. That is my first class on spectroscopy, in which the frequency range of 10 to the power 12 to 10 to the power 14 we call it as infrared spectroscopy, in which the IR radiation interaction with matter, which is the vibration of bonds in molecules, and which changes the dipole moment. There is a dipole moment change. If it is there, then the IR spectrum will give the spectra. Whereas if it is rotational spectroscopy, which takes the frequency of around 10 to the power 12 hertz, there the polar molecule undergo rotation and dipole moment change. Therefore, that is the difference between rotational spectroscopy and vibrational spectroscopy. Vibrational spectroscopy we call it as infrared spectroscopy. Okay, so that is IR spectroscopy. If you see the range, it has got far IR region, and near IR region. That is wavelength. It is in the decreasing order. Wavelength, it is in the order in this direction increasing, that we can see 0.1 angstrom, it increases to 1 nanometer, 1 micrometer, 10 micrometer, 1 millimeter, 1 centimeter, 10 meter, and 1 kilometer. That is wavelength in this order. Left side it is increasing towards the left side. Here it is indicated. So here we can say that it is having the range of 0.8 micron to 200 micron, 0.8 to 2.5, that is near, 2.5 to 15, that is the so-called IR region, 15 to 200, that is the far IR region. And if I want to reverse it, I want to take the wavelength in the right hand side direction, that is near IR region comes first here. That means the same I am rewriting 0.8, 2.5, 15, and 200 microns. Now microns I want to convert into centimeter, wavelength in centimeter, that is 0.8 into 10 to the power minus 4 centimeter. Like that, 2.5 into 10 to the minus 4, 15 into 10 to the minus 4, 200 into 10 to the minus 4. Over this we can rewrite 0.8 into 10 to the minus 4 means 4 decimals I need to place the before 8. That becomes 0.00008. Like that, it is 0.00025, 0.0015, and 0.0200 centimeter. Okay, now this is in wavelength. Usually in IR spectroscopy, we measure in terms of wave number. We take the value in terms of wave number, and wave number, that is 1 upon wavelength. So here we took the wavelength in centimeter. Therefore, 1 upon centimeter becomes centimeter inverse. That means we'll be getting the value in terms of centimeter inverse. That is 12,500 centimeter inverse for near infrared region to that range, that is to up to 4,000 centimeter inverse, then 667 centimeter inverse, 50 centimeter inverse. That means in our IR region, when we consider, that is IR region, IR spectroscopy, what we are discussing, that consists of 4,000 centimeter inverse to 667 centimeter inverse. So in our when we plot the graph, we will plot the graph like that: 4,000 centimeter inverse towards the zero, or from starting from 4,000 to 667 we calculate. And in y-axis, what we want to take in y-axis, that we will discuss now. I explain now. That explained with that of instrumentation. In instrumentation, for IR spectroscopy, we need a source of light which produces IR radiation. Then it has got one mirror. So the radiation, IR radiation, it is taken by a mirror to a particular direction. We call it as sample beam. and another one which is called as a reference beam. So these two sets here represents a mirror which just reflects or the give direction for the ray, that IR ray. Now the sample is taken and the beam is passed, sample beam is passed through sample and reference beam as such it is moved. Then using different mirror arrangement, the both the beams at the same time, the reference beam as well as the beam which passes through the sample, the IR radiation pass through sample. Therefore, here the sample it will absorb some of the IR radiation, some of the IR radiation it will transmit. Therefore, based on that, a monochromator, usually a rotating monochromator means it will allow a different wavelength. So we need a wavelength of a 4000 centimeter inverse to be passed through the sample. We need to check that. Then in the decreasing order of a cm minus 1, if you take 4000, then 3000, then 2000, like that, different wavelength. This is in wave number actually, given value. Different wave number radiations it will be checked, and comparing to the reference, comparing to the reference beam, what will be the variation in the sample beam, that will be analyzed by the instrument. Therefore, after that, the instruments it will be converted into a detector where it will absorb or it will check the IR radiation coming and will convert it to electrical signal, corresponding electrical signal, which is then amplified and gives the percentage transmittance. The device for the computer instrument or any other data analyzing device, it will be converting it to percentage transmittance. That is how much IR radiation is transmitted through the sample. Okay, the transmittance and its percentage transmittance it is calculated and we plot it in y-axis. So if more light is absorbed, the peak will come down. So if more IR radiation is absorbed by the sample, then with the reference to the reference beam, the transmittance percentage transmittance decreases, and more if the sample is not absorbing any IR radiation, then the transmittance is increasing. Okay, so we can see, we can observe this type of peak. This is just a rough peak, a sample peak I put here. It does not correspond to any molecule as such. Just I only draw a line like this to show that different peaks are obtained at different wavelength, and those peaks correspond to a different functional group or different type of bonds present in the organic molecule. Now, molecular vibrations. So we are discussing about vibrational spectroscopy as such. I'm not discussing much about rotation in this class series. Now, there are two kind of fundamental vibrations. One is a stretching vibration. Say this is a molecule connected to two bonds. Okay, two more or three more bonds will be there. Just schematically representing. Stretching means it gets stretched. The distance between the two atoms increases or decreases, but the atom remains in the same bond axis. Now, the compared to this is called the bigger one as the central atom, and the remaining two atoms they undergo stretching vibrations. So that stretching vibration is represented here. Okay, that it undergoes a stretching. Now the second one, fundamental vibration, that is bending type of vibration. Okay, same molecule I took. To the position of the atom change with respect to the original bond axis. Okay, therefore it is represented. It can be represented like this. So it undergoes bending vibration. So this type of vibrations are known as bending vibrations. Now there are two types of stretching vibrations. Under stretching vibrations of two types are there. One is symmetric stretching. Symmetric stretching, the atoms move in the same direction with respect to a central atom in the molecule. That means both atoms, these two atoms I consider, these two atoms will move in the same direction. They will move in the direction with respect to the central atom, not in opposite directions. Okay, so as you can see, both moves in the same direction. The direction which are represented here is downward direction. Okay, so downward direction both are moving. Okay, therefore we can call it as a stretching vibration, which is a symmetric stretching. So this is called as symmetric stretching. Now the second one, that is asymmetric stretching. Asymmetric stretching, in which one atom move away while the other atom move closer with respect to a central atom in the molecule. Okay, so it is represented here. Okay, so this type of movements, if it is there, we call it asymmetric stretching. One moves away, then the other one comes near to that. Now there are four types of bending vibrations, in which first one, that is scissoring. scissoring, two atoms approach each other. So this is the type of scissoring, just like a scissor. The second one, that is rocking. Rocking movement of atoms in the same directions. Atoms moves in the same, both atoms moves in the same direction. We can call it as a rocking type of vibrations. Now wagging means both the atoms move above or below plane at a time, same time. Both atoms move up and below the plane with respect to the central atom. So here I just represented that it is moving, it is coming towards us. Okay, so both the atoms are coming towards us. We call it as wagging type of bending vibrations. The last one, that is twisting. Twisting, one atom moves up the plane while the other goes down the plane with respect to central atom. Okay, it's difficult to show in this two dimensional. You can see one atom which is say brighter one, it came near towards the other one is moved away from the plane. Okay, so this is in the plane and this is gone just behind that plane and it came near to us. So that type of vibration we can call it as a twisting type of vibration. Now this last two, that is wagging and twisting, it sounds a bit difficult to understand with these two dimensions. So I prepared a model for that. Okay, a sample model I have. Okay, so I represented with a spring. So this is a spring connected to that, which we use to bind the books and all, binding spiral binding spring I took. These two represents the atom. Okay, so we seen two types of vibration. One is stretching vibration. So I can see this is stretching. There is no bending. Okay, this type we call it as bending vibrations. So this is bending. We are bending it. Now in stretching vibration, there is symmetric stretching as well as asymmetric stretching. So symmetric stretching means both atoms move in the same direction with respect to the central atom. So this is a symmetric type of stretching. And asymmetric stretching means one comes near to that one, other one moves away from. So this is asymmetric type of stretching. Okay, now that is two types of stretching. Now in case of bending, there are four types of the last two I'll explain first. That is first one, that is the scissoring. There is no much stretching involved as such. Only it bends in this direction. If it bends, we put as it is just like the scissor. How the scissor will work. That type of vibration is known as scissoring. The second one, what that is rocking. Okay, rocking means both moves in the same direction. Okay, so this is the rocking type of bending vibration. The third one, that is we call it as the wagging. Wagging means both atoms comes above or below the plane. Okay, so if I consider this as the plane, okay, so this paper if I should consider this is the plane. All the three atoms, two atoms are in the same plane, and if it comes near to you, if it comes above the plane, so this is wagging type of vibration above the plane as well as below the plane at the same time, we call it as wagging type. If it is a twisting type, one atom goes above, the other one goes below. Okay, below the plane or down the plane. So it means one is coming near to me, the other one coming near to you. So this type of stretching we can call it as a twisting type of vibration. So that is about different type of vibrations, stretching as well as bending vibrations. So we'll continue. So we'll continue from that. Now the bending vibrations require lesser energy and hence occur at a higher wavelength or lower wavelength than stretching vibration. That means compared to stretching vibrations, the energy required for the molecule to undergo bending type of vibration is easier. In IR spectroscopy, that is in this range, 4000 centimeter inverse to 667 centimeter inverse, the changes in vibration depends upon the mass of the atom present in the molecule, strength of the bond, as well as the arrangement of atoms within the molecule. That means the bending as well as the stretching vibrations, it depends upon the mass of atom. Bigger atoms, it is difficult to move. Smaller atoms, it will move faster. Or even the strength of the bond. If it is a single bond, it is easy to vibrate. If it is a double bond or triple bond, it's difficult to vibrate. and arrangement of atoms within the molecule, how molecules are arranged, any other substance effect, the electronic effect, everything will influence the IR spectroscopy radiation absorption. Now, no two compounds except the enantiomers can have similar IR spectra. So this is a statement. Now it is clear to you. Only enantiomers. Enantiomers means they're having only the optical rotation. The isomers which show different optical rotation that we call as enantiomer. Other than enantiomers, no other two compounds have the same IR spectra. That means IR spectra is a good tool, a good method, spectroscopic method to determine or analyze or quantitatively determine qualitative analysis of compounds. The more statements, the various stretching and bending vibrations of a bond occur at certain quantized frequencies. That means if a particular quantum of photons, if it is given, then only the molecular vibrations, it will absorb the molecular vibration, whether it is stretching vibration or bending vibration, whatever it may be, a particular quantum of photons it requires, then only it will do. It will not, as such, light passes, it will not absorb, and it reaches the particular energy level, then only it undergoes those type of vibration. Anyhow, in ground state, always molecule will have certain type of vibration that will explain in coming video. Even at absolute zero also, the vibration, it is difficult to damp. When IR radiation is passed through the substance, energy is absorbed and the amplitude of vibration increases. That means as soon as and when more and more quantized frequencies of IR radiation comes, the amplitude of vibration increases. Just I represent schematically. So this is the bond in which IR radiation is passed. A particular photon it absorbs, a quantized energy, a quantum of energy it absorbs, then it undergoes a particular vibration. Now from that vibration, further if it absorbs another quantized frequency, another quantum of IR radiation, if it absorbs, then the frequency amplitude it is increasing. So you can see the amplitude, initially it was vibrating only in this particular direction, now it is increased. Okay, so the magnitude increase, or we can say the amplitude of vibration it increased. Further, if it absorbs IR radiation, further the amplitude is increasing, and further if I give IR radiation, the bond may break also. Okay, we call it as dissociation. So a particular IR radiation, it will absorb the molecule. So above that IR radiation energy is high, then we cannot use it for the study. Therefore, the wavelength it is limited, wave number is limited from 4000 to 667 IR spectrum. Most of the vibrations it will not break as such. The atom, the bond will not break as such, but it will absorb maximum IR radiation to undergo this type of a stretching or bending vibration by absorbing the IR radiation. So more the light is IR radiation is absorbed, lesser will be transmitted, and individual atom bonds, whether it is hydrogen bond or carbon hydrogen bond, but anyhow this vibration should create a dipole moment. There will be a change in polarity and it creates a dipole moment, then only it can absorb the energy. So that dipole moment change, if it is there, then it will absorb, then the lesser will be transmitted and we can analyze the sample. Okay, so further statement, if I say some molecules returns to the ground state and by releasing energy, and as a result the temperature of the sample under investigation increases. Some molecules vibration if it absorb the IR radiation, jumps to a higher energy level, and it may jump back to the lower ground state level, and it releases some certain amount of energy, and that energy heat up the sample, or the temperature of the sample increases. That means most of the cases the sample under IR radiation it will heat up, or temperature will increase. So this is one of the important point, because I want to explain the hot bands. In the next class I will explain what is hot bands. So there are overtones, hot bands, and fundamental vibrations, fundamental transitions. So to explain the hot band, I need this particular statement. Therefore you can say it is clear that as IR radiation passes, some molecules will jump to higher energy, goes back to down state, and releases energy which will heat up the sample, or the temperature of the sample increases. Now some degrees of freedom, vibrational degrees of freedom. How to calculate the vibrational degrees of freedom? Degrees of freedom is how the freedom of movement. A molecule have different type of transition, different type of mobilities. The translational mobility, vibrational mobility, as well as rotational mobility. Okay, so the number of rotation, number of vibration, a number of translation possibilities we call it as the total number of degree of freedom. So the absorption of IR radiation depends upon the degree of freedom in a molecule. So if it is an isolated atom, a single atom, a stable atom, if you consider, so I'm giving the Cartesian points X, Y, and Z direction, three directions it is mentioned here. And this is an isolated atom, it is represented, single atom. There is no more bonds as such. Single atom will not have more bonds. So it has got 3 degrees of freedom. That means it can move in X direction, Y direction, or Z direction as such, and it can rotate, vibrate. Okay, since it is a single molecule, there is no rotation or vibration is there, and which will not give any dipole moment change also, as well as a single isolated atom. We discuss only the translation movement in X direction, Y direction, as well as in Z direction. All 3 direction it can move. We can say that it has got 3 translational motion. That means it as such, the molecule as such moves in 3 different directions. We call it as 3 translational motion. Translational movement. It cannot have rotational, vibrational motion, or if it is there at all, it will not be affecting our IR radiation absorption as such. Okay, so if n number of atoms are present in a molecule, so this is an isolated atom. If n number of atoms present, the number of degrees of freedom will be 3 multiplied by n or 3n. Okay, so we'll take 2 examples: non-linear molecule as well as linear molecule. First case, that is non-linear molecule. The total degrees of freedom anyhow we say is 3 into n, and in which n is the number of atoms present in the molecule. And plotting the Cartesian x, y, z 3 directions, and the molecule is represented. Non-linear molecule, it is represented here. Okay, a simple molecule in which the red color central atom and the 3 more atoms. To identify, I put some yellow dash, bluish, and as well as blackish color shades to that, so to show the rotation. Okay, it is not as much clear. This is it is a 2-dimensional space given here. That much animation I could not do, but still I tried my level best to make you understand. Now the translational degrees of freedom, it is 3 here. We know already that it can move in X direction, it can move in Y direction, that is translation motion, or it can move in Z direction. So 3 translational freedom degrees of freedom it is understood for non-linear molecule. The rotational degrees of freedom also 3, because it can rotate in X direction by keeping a X direction atom, keeping it as constant. It can rotate in Y direction, it can rotate in Z direction, it can rotate in X direction. All 3 possibilities are there. Say if Y, the Y direction it changes, rotates. It rotates, the molecule rotates through the Y direction, Y plane, Y axis. We can say that rotation through Y axis, or the rotation through the X axis, or the rotation through the Z axis. All the 3 possibilities rotation is possible. The molecule undergo rotation. Therefore, rotational degree of freedom is 3. Now, what about vibrational degree of freedom? So we know that total degree of freedom equal to translation degree of freedom plus rotational degree of freedom plus vibrational degree. That is the sum of all the 3 degrees of freedom, or we can say vibrational degrees of freedom will be, we have to deduct from the total degrees of freedom minus translational plus rotational degrees of freedom. We will get a vibrational degrees of freedom. Therefore, we can calculate, because our aim is to find how much is the vibrational degrees of freedom. If the number of vibrational degrees of freedom, if you know, a rough idea we will be having about the spectra absorption bands. But in practice, it is difficult to get the same. So many other factors that I'll discuss in coming video. So at least we'll get an idea how many number of possible bands are expected. So vibrational degrees of freedom for a non-linear molecule, that is 3n minus 6, where n is the number of atoms present. Now for a linear molecule, so this is a linear molecule in the same line, all the atoms are arranged. The translation degrees of freedom anyhow it is 3. Now rotational degrees of freedom it is 2. Okay, why so? So it can rotate in Y direction or Y path it can go. So that is represented here. Okay, so this is the y direction possible rotation. It can also rotate in z direction. Z direction means it is towards us and away from us. So, okay, z direction, it is towards us and away from us. That representation it is. Okay, so it can rotate even z direction also. But in x direction, rotation means here itself it rotates. Okay, so that will not cause any absorption of IR radiation. There is no much variation in dipole. Okay, dipole means charge separation. So here one charge is this side, another charge, positive and negative charge separation is there. If it rotates, we know rotating objects, the charged objects, if you make it to rotate, it will changes the dipole. Okay, dipole moment changes. So that dipole moment is possible only in y as well as z direction, and one direction, x direction, it is not possible, or it is possible in x and z direction, y direction is not possible, or it is possible in x and y direction it can rotate, but z direction rotation it will not give any dipole moment change. Therefore we can say that rotational degree of freedom it is 2. Therefore total in for a linear molecules, the vibrational degree of freedom is 3n minus 5. That is 3n minus 3 plus 2, that is 5. 3n minus 5. Therefore we can say it is 3n minus 5. Now more topic, that is vibrational frequency, in which the Hooke's law, applications of Hooke's law, harmonic and harmonic type of oscillations, what are overtones, what are hot band. These are very important topics in case of IR spectroscopy. It is very easy to understand, no much complication, only the names make us afraid that Hooke's law, harmonic, unharmonic, what are overtones, hot bands. Nothing to worry, we'll continue, we'll explain in the next class. Okay, so this is about my first class on IR spectroscopy. Please do subscribe my YouTube channel and support. My name of YouTube channel is My Intuition. Please like my videos and share the link. And my name is Dr. Prasad Puthilam. Once again, I thank you very much for watching this video and have a nice day.